Hello, welcome to Watan al-Karama News Channel. It is 9 p.m. our time for top stories, and we start with latest developments in Libya. The cabinet approved in its meeting of the request of the health minister to allocate 400 million dinars from the budget to ease the medical crisis in the country. The government's decision allocates the amount for the establishment of a number of central hospitals and another amount of 30 million dinars for the maintenance and processing of strategic warehouses relating to prices fund. Moreover, the decision comes to create a new municipality councils. The interim government condemned in a statement to attack on the headquarters of Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation in Al-Balidah city. The statement condemned in the strongest terms this act, stressing at the same time that such acts don't represent Al-Balidah city and its people in any way, but this only represents those who have done them. The government has called on Al-Balidah Directorate and all relevant institutions to take all legal measures to identify the perpetrators of these acts and arrest them. Bina Foundation for Human Development and Libyan Civic Education, in cooperation with the Solidarity Association of the Egyptian Multicultural Council, announced that the Libyan community will be hosted by Egypt. It added registration will be opened for students to teach the Libyan curricula for 3 primary phases in order to activate the decision of launching Libyan public schools. According to Bina Foundation, the registration begins from November 21 to 26 of the same month. Minister for Maghreb and African Union Affairs, the Algerian Abdelkader Missahel, announced that his country will host the 7th session of Libya's neighboring countries in the 1st of December. Missahel said that he didn't specify a specific date for the meeting so far, adding that the session was to discuss the situation in Libya and means of resolving the crisis. He also renewed the country's support for reaching a political solution to form a national unity government which will be responsible for conducting the transitional phase and restoring the system and institution building. He also stressed Algeria's support for the United Nations efforts to resolve the Libyan crisis. Tunisian Foreign Minister Tayyip al-Bakoush said that dialogue remains the only solution to overcome the internal differences in Libya and to achieve national reconciliation and respect for the will of the Libyan people. During a meeting with the new UN envoy to Libya, Martin Kobler, at the headquarters of the Tunisian Foreign Ministry, al-Bakoush stressed the permanent support of Tunisia for Libya and efforts exerted to reach a political settlement under the auspices of the UN. And still in Libya, the spokesman for the Air Force of the Armed Forces, Colonel Nasser al-Hasi, said that Air Force jets bombed a number of terrorist Daesh positions in Sabri and Lethe districts and near the port of Marissa. Al-Hasi noted that its military operations and vehicles near Marissa port and cement factories in the city area, a helicopter targeted dredger loaded with ammunition and terrorist elements in an area between the port and Marissa and Konfuta. A source in Derna confirmed the killing of 2 leaders of terrorist Daesh group during clashes in Al-Fatayh area east of the city. The source said that the Battle of El Gobba marchers enters its 4th day and clashes considered as the fiercest among the armed groups on one hand and terrorist Daesh group on the other hand. The source noted that terrorist group suffered heavy losses at 28 people, including foreigners and 2 eminent leading figures, namely Basit Gordouha and Yunus Al Moreover, the extremist group lost several strategic positions on the ground. And now we transfer to the Arab arena. Russian jets today continued hitting terrorist Daesh targets in Syria as Moscow intensified its air strikes one day after Putin said Moscow wanted reputation against those responsible for blowing up a Russian airline over Egypt. Russian Defense Ministry released videos showing Tuesday 91 to Tuesday 22 and Tuesday 160 bombers taking off from air bases in Syria and Russia and dropping bombs on targets in Syria. French fighter jets has also intensified their raids on Syria last night, targeting the terrorist Daesh group strongholds of Raqqa after the group claimed responsibility for coordinating attacks in Paris that killed more than 130 people. Extremist Daesh group said it carried out the attacks in Paris in retaliation for French and Russian air raids in Iraq and Syria. The Kremlin said that Putin and his French counterpart François Hollande have spoken on the phone and agreed to post coordination of their military actions in Syria. Hollande is due in Moscow on November 26 to discuss the fight against extremist Daesh group. French Interim Minister Bernard Cazeneuve said that 7 people were arrested and 2 died today in a region north of Paris. French Special Forces police have carried out an operation to neutralize terrorists. 7 people were arrested, 2 people have died, including a woman, by explosives, Cazeneuve told reporters at the site of the raid. Officials said police had been hunting Abdelhamid Abu Saoud, a Belgian terrorist Daesh militant accused of masterminding the November 13 carnage, but more than 7 hours after the launch of Bridon raid in the northern Paris suburb of Stade-Denis, it was still unclear if they had found them. Paris Press Secretary François Molin said that the assault was ordered after phone taps, and operations led police to believe that Abu Saoud might have been in Stade-Denis near the football stadium, which was site of one of the attacks that hit Paris last week. And now to Nigeria. A blast struck a market in the northeastern Nigeria city of Yola, killing 32 people and wounding 80 others, but the Red Cross and National Emergency Management Agency NEMA said today. The explosions occurred at a fruit and vegetable markets beside a main road in the Jimta area of Adamawa state capital. There was no immediate claim of responsibility, but the blast bore the hallmarks of militant group Boko Haram, which has killed thousands over the last 6 years in its bid to create a state adhering to strict Sharia law in the northeast. Suspected members of Boko Haram have killed around 1,000 people since President Mahmoud Buhari took office in May, vowing to crush the militant group. Since losing most of the territory they took over areas this year to the Nigerian army, the militants have focused attacks on the markets, bus stations and places of worship, as well as hit-and-run attacks on villages. And finally, about Greece clashes. Police fired tear gas at dozens of Greek farmers today in Athens, who pelted them with stones and oranges and tried to storm parliament during the protest against planned tax increases. Greece farmers have long benefited from subsidies and tax breaks and have been shielded by successive governments anode to supporting agriculture and keeping an important voter base. But their status as a protected group has come under the threat as part of the Greece's third ballot, prompting several protests in central and northern Greece. Today, thousands of farmers who had traveled from all over the country rallied in central Stigmount Square. Clashes erupted briefly when a group tried to break past the line of police in riot gears to reach Parliament. Police responded with tear gas as some protesters threw flash bombs and chunks of broken marble. My audience, that is the wrap-up of our top stories for today. For much more, you can check our website, www.watanalkarama.tv. Thanks very much for being with us. My greeting, Rانيا البليدى.